Welcome back to another episode of the Creative Commerce Podcast. I'm your host, Jeffrey Scott from jeffreyscottmedia.com. And on this episode, I'll be answering the question a lot of people have when it comes to starting out. What do I charge? And how do I charge clients? I'll get into how I personally charge for things and how I structure quotes. I'll also get into the mistakes I learned from when charging clients so you don't have to do the same mistakes. But first, let's get into the gear update. Recently, Polar Pro released the Helix Maglock McKinnon Edition filter system. It's a mouthful. These filters are unique because they don't have the hassle of threading filters. The Helix provides a completely secure connection using its magnetic and quarter-turn locking mechanism. This makes it super fast to take on and off the filters while ensuring that they stay locked during shoots. It just sticks on since it's magnetic, so no more screwing on your actual lens. And of course, you'll need a thread base, and those are available in 67, 72, 77, and 82 millimeter brass thread bases. They provide a seamless experience, so no vignetting down to 17 millimeters. There's a rubber frame for more grip and protective lens caps on both sides, so you could keep a filter on the camera and then put the provided lens cap on the filter, and that'll be your new lens cap. And by the way, that's magnetic too, so everything just slaps on, sticks on, and stays on. The Polar Pro Helix Maglock Filter System McKinnon Edition retails for $329.99, and it includes V&D 2-to-5 filter, front and rear defender, 77mm base plate, 82mm base plate, and one base plate defender. When it comes to having a bunch of filters for your camera, I feel like it would be super efficient and very quick to switch out filters and not having to worry if it'll adapt or not. And especially since it's magnetic, so you can just slap it on and it'll stay on. Of course, you'll have an adapter ring that threads on, but it'll be way easier to adapt these magnetic filters to any camera of any thread base. Polar Pro has always created high-quality products, so if you're in the market for some new filters, they're definitely worth a look. Now let's get into the inspiration insight, and I want to challenge you to play with sound. As visual creators, we often focus on the visual elements of how things line up and how things look, but this week I want you to add a whole different dimension to your project and focus on sound. Sound is a very important aspect of video. If you don't have good sound, your video won't feel natural or immersive. I think you should challenge yourself to create a captivating soundscape that represents a specific place or an atmosphere. Just sort of think about a specific scene you want to cover and note all the different sounds you would want to capture to naturally pull it off. Focus on capturing both the ambient sounds like rustling of leaves or distant traffic, but also capture some sound you can make yourself, like different footsteps or conversations or other natural elements that would go in the background of your video. Whenever you record video of the scene you choose, don't use any of the sound you captured from the video. Try to recreate every single little sound by recording it yourself. Not only will it be higher quality, but the sounds will sound more in-depth and immersive. This also goes along with creating Foley. Foley is a film technique of creating individual sounds to put in film. Sounds can be made with any kind of object, even like hitting glass or hitting the table, knocking on things. Sounds can be made for everything and anything in your video. You can just make them yourselves and it'll sound a lot better than the natural in-camera microphone. If you want to share your content and have a chance to be featured, use hashtag InspirationInsight and tag me in your post. So now let's get into the main topic. What do I charge? How do I charge? Let's answer those questions. First, I'll share how I specifically charge and how I price my packages on both the photo and video side of things. Then I'll share my mistakes and personal experiences I've had with different methods of pricing. Out of all my prices, I never charge hourly. I think I mentioned this in the last episode with like the business 101 part of the episode, but never charge hourly. This is a big mistake I learned pretty quick. However, it's a good place to start when you're first starting out and you don't know how much your time is worth. You can charge hourly. Charging hourly can have a ton of problems come up. If you charge hourly for every single type of project, then you'll feel like you're making a lot less on shoots and maybe sometimes a lot more on shoots. When I was charging hourly for some shoots that I think I should have been worth more, I just felt like I was scamming myself on the harder shoots. This is why all of my pricings and quotes have set packages that not only factor how much I would charge hourly for my own time, but the value of that project and how much value that could bring to the client. For example, I could make a basic social media promo for like $200, and for a wedding film, my starting price is $1,000. Both use the same principles and techniques of recording that video, but it's the value and the time that's also factored into it as well. Try to create different packages for the different types of content you want to offer. I have a wedding package, real estate package, graduation photo packages, way more for different situations and different things that my clients want. By specifying what you provide and specifically listing what is all in that package, you help your potential clients see what you offer, what can be added on, and the value they can expect to get out of it. When you create a package, first think about what your hourly rate would be and how long that particular shoot would be. So say your hourly rate is $50 an hour and you're creating a package for a real estate video that takes like 2 hours to shoot and 4 hours to edit. So 50 times 6 is 300. That would be a good starting price to value your time for that whole entire real estate shoot and editing. Now that that price is set, who says that it'll take that long? What if you do it quicker? Maybe you edit quicker. Then you'll make more money and won't have to bill less since it was less time. It's more stable, stays at a fixed rate, won't stress your client out because they'll have to worry about how much time was put in it. They're just focusing on the total price that they'll just pay up front. Next, you can offer add-ons and bump that price up, just like I mentioned in the last episode with drone videography and real estate. You can charge an extra $100 to $200 for that easily. Doing some drone work will probably take another 15 to 30 minutes on site, but what you're charging for, it's way worth it. So now I want to bring up something that's overly specific, but will cover your butt on all angles. If you're scared that you're going to be on site longer than expected, which happens a lot since clients will keep you there as long as they can since they have you there, and sometimes your package just includes just the shoot. So if you're worried about spending more time there, you can include in your package something like package includes 2 hours of shoot time, $50 added for each extra hour. So this covers any possibility of staying over the time that you expect, and you benefit from it either way. I've heard from plenty of creators that they hate it when clients make them stay longer than expected, especially when it comes to weddings. Like, don't hate it, like charge for it. Be clear and upfront about your package and pricing structure beforehand. There's been plenty of times where I've stayed at a shoot for the agreed upon time and they've wanted me to stay maybe an hour or two longer and they felt bad for asking, but I had no problem staying there. I mean, hey, more money for me. Even get as specific of how long the video will be too. Like say a typical real estate video is 2 minutes long, and say that on your package, and if your client wants it longer, then you can say extra $50 for each extra minute or something like that, so you can cover yourself if they ask you to make it longer. Not only will that require you to get more footage, but it'll take you more time to edit since the project is now magically supposed to be longer than expected. So this also applies to photos. Always make sure to include the numbers of photos that you promise to provide. You might be thinking you will have no idea how many edited photos that you'll provide to your client. Just think of what you typically would edit from something and lowball it and over-provide it. Like for example, currently on my graduation photo package, I say that I'll give them like 15 or more photos. This is a realistic number, but it's pretty low for me. In the 30 minutes or hour-long shoot, I'm going to be taking like a few hundred photos, maybe even 1,000 photos anyway. So I'm sure I can at least find 15 or more that I like that I would want to edit and send. So I can easily exceed their expectations by providing 20 or even close to 30 photos, and they'll be extremely happy because they expected 15 or maybe a little more, but now they're getting like double for the same price. So like I said, lowball what you think you can do and then over provide. If you usually give like 25 photos, say that you give 15, and that'll be the new norm. So then when you provide your normal 25 or more, they'll be ecstatic and excited that they got so much more from you. Now let's talk about travel fees. If it's a short distance, like an hour or less away, I just charge like $50 for a tank of gas. Nobody seems to complain about $50 for gas, especially since nowadays gas is pretty expensive. But say you had to charge for a long distance, for a long shoot. I'm based in Houston, but a lot of the times I have to go into Austin as well. So you can start with the $50 for gas, but then figure out how much you should charge for your time driving. And yeah, I think you should be charged for your time driving, because that time could be spent working for other clients, editing, but you're stuck driving. So I think, charging that for your time as well is worth it and valid. Value all of your time from start to finish. How I typically charge for travel time when it comes to big productions is my hourly rate divided by 2. So say your hourly rate's $50 an hour, like I said before, and if the shoot is 2 hours away, then that'll be a 4-hour round trip. So don't forget about the trip there and the trip back. A lot of people, when calculating stuff, they'll calculate just going there, because they're just thinking about just going there. Think about the way back as well. You've got 2 trips. So 50 divided by 2 is 25. 25 times 4 is 100. So 100 plus 50 for that tank of gas is 150. So I think 150 is a fair price for travel for your gas and then 4 hours of your time. Everyone's budget is different, so consider the type of shoot that it is and what their budget can afford. Like, I wouldn't charge a ton for travel if I'm just doing a shoot that's worth $200, because why would anybody want to spend $150 on travel and $200 for the shoot that you're doing? That's just double the price for you to just get there. It just wouldn't make sense to me to double it. Just make sure it's appropriate to the person's budget, how much they're expecting. And yeah, anyway, there's many different ways that you should or shouldn't charge it, and it just all depends on what you're planning to work and who you're planning to work for. Of course, you can charge large companies differently than small businesses or individuals, so if you want to, you can take a look at my website and see how I break down my packages and extra add-ons and stuff. All of my prices are there on my website. You can go check them out at jeffreyscottmedia.com/prices. You'll see everything, how I charge for both photo and video, and then all the add-ons and stuff. So if you need a good little template or a good idea of what people are charging, I think I'm a good mid-range price for people. So now let's get into the content spotlight of the show. On this content spotlight, I want to spotlight a wedding studio I found on Instagram called Tarez Studio. Might be pronouncing that wrong, but they do both photography and videography, and I really think their images are very stunning and very great. I'm featuring all of their content because of how they color grade everything. All their images are so deep and rich in the color palette. They pick a color and they stay consistent with it. Everything they make is just so high quality, and I'm surprised they don't have more followers. Only with 7,500 followers, but I bet they get a ton of business. But anyways, that's who I wanted to spotlight today. If you want to check out all their colors and all the different weddings they've done, both photography and videography, which is a great combo to do if you're already into cameras, doing both photo and video, then you can check them out at Tarez Studio. That's Tarez Studio. And we've talked a lot of business for the main topic, so I'll just do another business 101, something short. I think if you're worried about charging too high, I don't think that should really be a problem. If people aren't giving you mixed reactions to your prices, if some people aren't saying that it's too high, then you're probably too cheap. It's always good to get some no's, but mostly yeses to your price, but it's not good to always get a yes for your prices. If you're always getting yeses, or you're not in any negotiation, or you're not being questioned about your prices, then that should tell you that you're cheap and that your price is a steal and people are agreeing to the first offer that you're offering. So maybe that's a good sign to raise your prices or price yourself more. Don't try to undervalue yourself. If you want to negotiate, offer a higher price first and then negotiate down to what you would probably normally charge. Just all in all, don't undervalue yourself. You want to make sure it's a win-win situation, so you're not putting yourself down with the money side of things, and the client is also winning by getting some good content out of it. Pricing is a very strange boat to be in when you're just thinking about what's the perfect price for the value of my time and the value of my skills. It always changes. There's times where I think I'm overvalued, and there's times I think I'm undervalued. You just got to test, rinse, and repeat. See what sticks. See how many rejections you get or questions, or if people take up your offer on the first offer. It's a lot of testing and tweaking. You'll never get it right the first time. But I think with what I shared throughout this entire episode, I think that'll help you get a good foundation of what you should start out pricing, especially with trying to budget your travel, trying to budget your time inside the package already so you're not just charging hourly, making sure you're charging appropriately for travel, gas, driving time, things like that. All of those things going in to the final price and quote. But again, do what works for your business, do what works for you personally. Maybe you don't really care about your driving time. Maybe you don't really care about gas, which you should, but maybe there are some things that matter to you that don't matter to me, things that matter to me that don't matter to you. Just price whatever you feel is comfortable and what you find valuable in your own life. I'll share one thing that's very annoying to me that I see a lot of photographers do, especially graduation photographers or older, maybe millennial or older photographers that have dealt with film in their lives and printing photos. Don't do the model that you take photos and you only do prints and it costs extra to get the digital photos. It makes me so mad to see that. It's so outdated, so traditional, so stupid. Everything is digital now. Just give the digital images, no watermark. They're paying for those pictures. They're paying for your time. Give that. Edit it and give it. Don't care what they do with it. If they want to print it, they can print it on their own. They don't have to go through you. Don't be a stuck-up, egotistical photographer that just does prints, and if they want the digital images, such a drag, right? They have to pay more for it. Such an outdated traditional business model. So stupid. Don't do it. It makes people, especially older people that I've worked for, especially like the moms and dads of graduating students, when they ask me, can I get the digital images or how much is it to print? It's like, I'm giving you the digital images. You do whatever you want with them. I don't care. And they get so happy because I guess that's an exceeded expectation. I don't know. It's just nice to make people happy, and it will definitely have return business for you. It also makes me very happy because I was delivering all the raw footage and raw photos and like the final project on a USB drive to the family of a daughter who just had their quinceañera. And I went into their home and we had a photo shoot beforehand of the girl all in her dress and stuff. And they had my photos printed and framed in their dining room. And that made me super happy to see. But yeah, there's my tip, multiple tips, multiple things that I like to see. So hope that helps you out on that business tip, mindset tip, whatever. Also, just don't be a old business model photographer with the prints. It's so annoying. But anyways, follow me on Instagram and TikTok and Spotify, everywhere, YouTube. New episodes every week, every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time on YouTube and Spotify. Follow my Instagram and TikTok at jeffrey.scott_ for daily clips and highlights and more content. Thanks for watching another episode of the Creative Commerce Podcast. I'll see you again next week.